Ladies and gentlemen, if you could grab a seat, we're going to get rolling. Thank you. Especially you, Mrs. Connor. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to thank you for supporting the Bears. First of all, it was just absolutely phenomenal to see this room just packed. And I'm going to do something totally different than what was planned to open the program today. And this is usually done absolutely dead last. I want to acknowledge those people in the room that helped put this event together. First of all, I'd like to thank John Moretz for hosting us here at Moretz Mills. Three Amigos Bar. Then I would like to recognize our new managing director of the Bears Club, Mr. Aaron Dessing. Awesome. He's going to take us to the moon. Then I want to recognize the rest of the event staff that helped do this. And I hope I don't forget someone. Way in the back is Allie with the camera. She's as good in front of the camera as behind the camera. Thank you, Allie. I'm not sure where Ingrid Smith is. She's right here in the front. Ingrid. Dr. Ingrid Smith, I might add. Whoa. And where's Lee? There she is. We don't really care that you cheered for Appalachian because we got our record. But we like you anyway. We love you. Thank you for doing what you do. And Lee, thank you. And where in the world is Martha? Where is she? Stand up, Martha. So there she is in the back of the room, Martha Wright. Like I said, I wouldn't normally do that. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I don't think so, but that was our event committee to put this gig together. You know, it's only once in a lifetime, if you're lucky, do you get to celebrate 100 seasons of football. A lot of people play football, and there'll be more and more people come and go, but if you're alive during that 100th season, it's pretty amazing. And we've got lots of fun, lots of good times tonight, three tremendous individual guests. So we're going to have a great evening. One thing I'd like to do to get us started, I'd like to recognize the very special people in the room. If you just stand briefly, Mike and Debbie Pope. Fred and Pam Goldsmith. And Coach. I'm not sure if Mrs. Painter is here, but if not, let's give her a hand, Lorraine Painter. Hank Guest and his wife Tammy. And Warren Wood and his wife Amy, city manager Warren Wood. Thank you. Now I'd like to have Coach Cronick come up and offer our blessing for the evening.
Good evening. What time is it? There we go. It's a great looking group. Let's give thanks. We got a lot to be thankful for. Heavenly Father, just thankful for this evening. The people who planned it, we're so blessed to be in such a great place. Thankful for this food, asking them to nourish our bodies. Lord, just help us have great fellowship this evening. Help us to honor you in our actions and our words. Help us to really realize how blessed we are. And we thank you so much for your son, Jesus. And we love him and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Great job, Allie, and your team. That was awesome. Piedmont Educational Foundation, the Bears Club, was founded in 1946 to support Lenoir-Rhyne athletics and student athletes. Tonight, we have a very special celebration. That is that 100 seasons of football. Give you some historical background. In 1907, Theodore Roosevelt was president. Model T Ford was just being manufactured in mass production. And in football, the forward pass, if it wasn't completed, was a 15-yard penalty, Coach. And if you scored a touchdown, it was only 4 points. So we've come a long ways from there. We're here tonight to celebrate those who came before us to establish a path, those who kept us on the path, and those who will lead us into the future. This 100-season journey, we are on the journey together. Tonight we'd like to recognize some very special people in the room. This is when we get our exercise, guys. This is almost going to be like aerobics. First thing I'd like to recognize is all those members here who played on, coached, managed, assisted with the 1960 National Championship team. Please stand. That wasn't but just a few years ago, and we almost did it again. So we had a runner-up national championship team. And I would like for, if there are any members here, coaches from that team, please stand and be recognized. At this point, I'd like to recognize everyone in the room, every player who played on a conference championship team. And before they stand, I'd like to tell you that we've had 21 conference championships at Lenoir-Rhyne since 1950. And I think I read somewhere today that we were preseason favorites this year, Coach. Sorry. You know, you said it. The target's on our back, right? That's where we want it. All those who played on a conference championship team, please stand. Now I'd like all of our Hall of Famers to stand, please. Hall of Famers, please stand. And our new inductees, Tom Austin. My teammate. How about the All-Americans? Any All-Americans in the room, please stand. Congratulations, gentlemen. Now I would like anybody to stand that ever lettered wearing a Bear uniform. Please stand. One last category. All those coaches that are here in any LR sport, and anyone who's ever coached at LR in the past, please stand. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are awesome. Coaches are the best teachers in the world and very underappreciated, so thank you, gentlemen. The last category I want to recognize, and I'm going to call on Tommy Deal for that, because that's the fans. And Tommy, what time is it?
What time is it?
Yo!
What time is it?
Bear time! Thank you, Tommy. That's a Bear Nation for you. We appreciate it very much. I just want to say something real quick before we go into our next video. Next video comes from our illustrious basketball coach that coaches up there in the state of Tennessee. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll shoot the video for you," and da. He sent it down to me, and I looked at it, and man, those guys that play in the backfield get all the credit. So anyway, here's our video from Coach Rick Barnes.
100 years of LR football. Wow. It's really amazing that I feel like I've been a part of a lot of them, which I have been. And as a young kid growing up in Hickory, sneaking into the game on Saturday afternoon and watching those games between the bricks was something as a kid that I'll always remember, because I remember watching Toby Morgan, Jack Huss, Mike McCray, Neil McGahee, and those guys play, and then leaving, going back home in the late afternoon in my own backyard, dreaming of one day being a Bear, and then marrying into the Rhyne family, sitting around the table listening to E.P. Rhyne, my father-in-law, tell me about the great teams of the 60s and late 50s, and then later on meeting Hank McCroy and hearing him talk about his teammates the way he did. I had nothing but the fondest memories about LR football, and then as I became an LR Bear myself, being around the first team that won the SAC championship and how good those guys were, and now watching what has happened today, how we are really one of the national contenders every year, and what's going on there, it's been just really a wonderful experience to see it happen. And all I can say is LR football means a lot to a lot of people. It means a lot to Hickory, North Carolina, but it means a lot more than people might realize. And all I can say is great to be a Bear and Bear to the bone.
Thank you, Coach Barnes. He'll be with us. He's overseas right now visiting his son and their family. It's my pleasure at this moment to say just a little bit about the three distinguished guests that we have here this evening. I really don't know that we have enough time for me to read their pedigrees. If you haven't, you need to. I'm going to give you just a real brief look, and then we'll have Jack and Juju come up and do some interviews with these fellas. But to start off with, Mike Pope is with us. We introduced Mike before. Mike's a LR Bear. He is Bear to the bone. He's done about everything you could do as an LR athlete. He's coached all over the NFL. I think the most distinguishing thing about Mike, he reminds me of our friend Ronnie Lott. They have something in common. They have 4 Super Bowl rings. That's pretty awesome, Mike. That's just a tremendous accomplishment. And many other things. You've coached some of the best tight ends that have ever played the game. I was so impressed. I was at a Tennessee basketball game this winter, and I turned around and looked behind me, and Jason Witten was sitting right there, and I went, Mike Pope, man, Mike Pope. So Mike, we're loving to have you. Thank you very much. Fred Goldsmith is with us also. Coach Goldsmith, as I like to call him. Anybody that got to play for him was awful lucky. That's all I can say. National Coach of the Year a couple of times. He's coached all over the country. He's well known, but most of all, he is well respected. He is just the man of all men. He came to LR for a purpose, and he accomplished it. And we are just super excited to hear from Coach Goldsmith tonight. Our last special guest is Coach Chronic. Coach, you got the heat on you, brother. All I can tell you is that from my perspective, I told our athletic director, Kim Pate, when she hired him, and by the way, she is an expert at hiring quality people. An expert. When she hired Coach Chronic, I said, my only hope is that we can fix the culture. Because Coach Goldsmith came here to establish it, reestablish it, and it got broken. I just wanted to fix the culture. Never did I dream that we would do that and win as well. Amazing. You're an amazing man. We're glad to have you. So with that, we're going to see another quick little video, I think, and we're going to have Juju Phillips, Jack Huss. What can I tell you about these two guys, both former Bears, the voice of the Bears, the color of the Bears. If there's anything you need to know about LR football history, Jack and Juju are the ones to tell you. So I'm going to have them come up and do our interviews. I'm sorry, we've got Dr. Witt first. I just walked right over you. You know, Appalachian people just don't get respect around here. I don't know what it is. I mean, we got too many of them in the room, but we love you anyway. And I did walk all over you. We're going to have Dr. Witt come up here first, and then we'll get on to our interviews. Thank you.
I used to be the new president, and everybody wanted to hear from me. You know? I think the first year they said, talk as long as you want to. Last year they said maybe 15 minutes, and tonight they said 5, and then they forgot me. So I was driving in, I said, there's no parking places. I said, what's going on? I was just kind of picking at it. Everybody's here to see Fred. I said, that's great. I'm glad everybody's here to see me. No, Fred Goldsmith, not Fred Witt. I did want to introduce just a couple people. You know, we talked about Miss Painter couldn't be here, but Coach Painter's daughter's here, Janet Painter, who's an outstanding professor for us in the College of Education. Janet, would you please stand and let us recognize you? And Warren Wood was introduced as our city manager. We also have with us an Honorable Hank Guest, the mayor of Hickory. Hank, would you please stand and be recognized? Hank's been with the governor's been here visiting in the area today, several congressmen, and you know, we've really valued our partnership with Hickory, and so glad that they're here tonight. We have some neat things that are going to happen here pretty soon. On the program, Jack was just saying, you know, you're in between Rick Barnes and Perry Fuel. That's a pretty good bookend, so I'll try to be brief because I know you'd rather hear from them. But welcome and thank you for being here. It's a great turnout. You know, this event has really become one of my favorites. It's kind of a segue as it reminds us at the beginning of the school year and football season is just right around the corner, and it gets your juices flowing a little bit. And how awesome it is to be here and be part of the university that had such an outstanding turnaround championship season last year, and to be able to celebrate the 100th anniversary of football here at Lenoir-Rhyne University. Now, I'm not sure where time goes, but it just seems like a few months ago we were sitting in here talking about kicking off the $3 million campaign to try to build this Neil McGahee Sports Performance Center. And to think that it would happen and within the year, you know, I was pretty optimistic because I have a lot of confidence in David Luper and Roger Young and Matt Winter. But well, I believe it was Kim or Roger, I kind of choked on my food when they said, now we're going to raise this money in 3 months so we can start right after the season starts. I said, $3 million in 3 months. But they did it. They're right close to it. And we were able to start that, and I think you're going to be real pleased. That's going to be a real game changer. Thank you for your support, all of you who chipped in with that. You know, so many of you stepped up to the plate, and I think our student athletes are going to be so proud of that facility that they can use, but also being used by our Bear Club members. We have a similar experience with the Madeline and Dwayne Dasso University Commons. That's the structure you see going up off the way of the end zone, and that project is also fully funded, and we hope to be in that within the next 6 to 8 months, and an opportunity to build community with the students, with the administration, and we're just looking forward to what that can do. There's many great things happening on campus. You know, we completed the development of our new strategic plan. If we do the things in that strategic plan, Lenoir-Rhyne will really propel to a whole new level of excellence. It was a collective effort of the community, the Board of Trustees, our alums, and we look forward to embarking on that. The interesting thing around campus that's going on is, there's some things that are really good happening, and there's some things that are a little crazy happening. If you've been out by the football stadium this year, you'll see, or recently, you'll see we've developed some special seating this year. And, there's actually, you've seen the paper where the state legislature has passed a bill. You can now sell alcohol at university system school athletic events. So we have a special seating, but instead of BYOB, our special seating will be BYOC, bring your own chair. And so, the stadium issues were a complete surprise to us. We knew we had some crumbling concrete we wanted to repair. We were talking about building a tunnel so the team could run on the field and not have to walk on the field down through the stands. We said, let's take a look at the stadium. And it's time to do a little study, a little engineering study to look at the structure. And I think we were really surprised. It was that miracle in Moretz with everybody jumping up and down could have been a disaster in Moretz. It was really bad. They actually wanted us to close it down that day before they approved their report. And Kim and I kind of looked at each other and, what are we going to do? It's a 100th year of football. Our physical plant director said, well, why don't you think about playing at the high school? Or maybe you can close off the side and maybe have folks sit in the end zone. I said, wait a minute now, that's about 70% of our seating on the home side. And he said, there's just no way you're going to have time to tear that down and do anything for this season. Well, Kim and I are wired a little bit the same way, and all that was watch us, we'll show you. And actually, Matt Winter's here. Matt, would you stand up, please? Representing, he's on not only a football alum, but the project manager works really well with David Looper, and I think he had a special interest in that. And we had a company come in along with D.H. Griffin, working with Looper Construction, and I think it took 16, 17 days. The sad thing is when they hit it with that giant machine, you could almost hit it with a hammer and it was crumbling. But they got it out there, it's all ready to go. Bottom line is, National Bleacher Company will be here Monday and have 3,800 seats installed in there by August 11th. So they started July 8th. They'll finish August 11th. That's pretty amazing in 1 month, so thank you for that work. Don't ask me what we're going to do after the season. I'm going to need your help. We hope to make lemonade out of lemons, and that's what we want to do, is see this as an opportunity and to make it better. But we'll talk about that more at a later date. Doing something like that takes a lot of great leadership. And Kim Pay, Rogers mentioned her, not only does she hire great people, we happen to have 3 National Coaches of the Year on our coaching staff, but we're going to have more because we're going to be very successful. She's improved our athletic program all the way around, not just in the culture, in the winning, in the quality of experience the student athletes have, and she's just a real gem to work with each and every day. And she and I have talked a little bit about this, but one of the things I want to say publicly, she's going to become, instead of the director of athletics, the vice president of athletics. So we're really excited to have you here. Don and I absolutely love being here at Lenoir-Rhyne University. It's a real blessing. We're all in. We absolutely love this place. I can assure you of that. We don't want to go anywhere. Even if you still call me a mountaineer, my understanding is we're called mountain bears now. Not just so that's a good thing. We're all in, and your support for our university and for me personally as president means much more than you know. So we're happy to be here. Thank you for being here this evening and all the support you provide, and go Bears.
So I did have some input into the agenda. I don't know why I put Dr. Witt in front of me. So now I gotta follow him. Do we have a video roll? No? No. Okay, so you guys have me. Hey, I just gotta say, this is phenomenal. You know, we sat in this room a year ago, and it was a sellout crowd, and Roger Maxey and I said, how are we gonna top that? And it was an unbelievable night celebrating Neil McGahee, launching the campaign. We had Rick Barnes, Mike Houston, Rhino, and it was a special night. But I never dreamed that we'd do it again. For us to be able to fill this room and be able to celebrate 100 years of football, and I knew when Roger Maxey signed up to be our chair of our annual dinner that we were in great hands. And so I want to recognize Roger and of course Ingrid Smith. This night is possible, and all the creativity that went into it really is inspired by this gentleman to my right. Let's give Roger Maxey a round of applause. All right, so great meal. I want to recognize our sponsors for tonight. Texas Roadhouse sponsored the food. When you get an opportunity to go out and eat, make sure you thank them for supporting the Bears. Great night. And I also want to recognize Aramark for serving tonight. Well, like I say, it is an exciting time to be a Bear. It's an exciting time to be at Lenoir-Rhyne. I feel privileged and blessed, and probably what makes it most exciting is the people. I say this probably every year I get up here, but it doesn't change. It really is about the people at Lenoir-Rhyne, working with Dr. Witt and all the members of the cabinet and vice presidents, all the way across campus, you know, in admissions, financial aid. And then I have the special privilege of working with some amazing group of coaches and staff. And so I love to recognize our coaches one more time and ask all of our head coaches to stand and be recognized. Come on, coaches, one more time. I want to point out two new faces. We've got our new head track and field coach, Kevin Patterson, here. Just so if you haven't introduced yourself, Kevin Patterson. And then we have Chris Ramirez and his wife Lindsay, who are here with us, new head baseball coach. Chris, stand and wave. You haven't already met Coach Williams. All right, so we're coming off of an awesome year. I want to talk a little bit about this past year, although our sights are set on 2019-20, but you know, this was an unbelievable year. We had some great moments. We made some great strides athletically, and as I talked about our coaches and the privilege to work with these folks, it really is their leadership, their commitment to the student-athlete experience, you know, recruiting great people, developing them all the way around from a character standpoint that nets these kinds of results. This past year, we made tremendous strides collectively as a department, probably one of the most successful all the way around with all sports. We saw 15 of our 22 teams improve in the standings. And in the Eccles Cup, we actually moved up from third to 10 points away from first. In 2017-18, we were 485 points behind first place Wingate. This last year, because of all of our sports improvement, we finished just 10 points shy from bringing home that cup. Now, I won't lie. We were crushed, we were disappointed, we're not in any way satisfied, but we have to stop and recognize the progress we've made. I have full confidence that cup is going to be coming home, and a year from now we'll be holding it up here and you'll be able to celebrate with us. But 10 points away this next year, you know, that cup is in our sights, our student athletes are hungry, and our coaches are locked in, and this year it won't be close. The other thing I want to celebrate is academically. Our student athletes are unbelievable, not only on the field, but in the classroom. Collectively, across all of our athletic program, our average GPA for all student athletes is a 3.3 GPA. I'm going to ask all of our coaches whose team had a 3.0 GPA or higher this past year to stand and be recognized. We had 18 of our 22 programs achieve a 3.0 this past year. Well, one of the great moments that we celebrate every year at this annual dinner is our Scholar Athlete Award. We recognize the student athletes who have the highest GPA across all of our student athlete population. The award is named in honor of Dr. Rufus Moretz, and I'd like to ask Rufus to stand and be recognized. Usually we're celebrating swimmers, so Coach Schiffel is going to probably be on his athletes to be able to get back into the mix for this award. But this year we're celebrating 2 track athletes, and we're fortunate to have them here with us tonight. Tonight, our male Student Scholar Athlete Award winner is Peyton Jones. Peyton is a psychology major, cross-country and track runner. And at this time, I'd like to invite him to come forward and receive his award. Our female Dr. Rufus Moretz Scholar Athlete Award is Jocelyn Lowe. Jocelyn is a junior and exercise science major and also a track and field athlete. Jocelyn, will you come up forward and let us recognize you for this special honor? Well, it was a great turnout today. We had a tour of the Neil McGahey Center, and thank you for everybody who came out just to see what a special place this is. I'm going to show you a quick video of the Neil McGahey Center for those of you who weren't able to make it out there. This is from the beginning to yesterday. Yeah, they work fast, Dr. Witz. I told you they work fast. Well, a year ago, as Dr. Wood said, we announced that we were going to embark on this campaign. And he so took my line. I was going to bring up that I saw him choke on his food when I announced that we were going to raise $2.6 million for this campaign. We ended up actually raising $3.2 million. And we did it in, what, 4 months? Would you say, John Moretz? 4 months? Unbelievable. I mean, really, this is a tribute to our fans, our supporters, to be able to do something this special in such a short period of time is really remarkable. And I'd like to ask everyone who supported the Neil McGahey Sports Performance Center to stand and let us recognize you. Thank you on behalf of all of our coaches and student athletes. It's impressive. Thank you. I also got to give a shout out to John Moretz, Ed Bird, who's not here. I believe we have John Bray somewhere, John Bray, and then Charles Young. Unbelievable campaign committee to be able to pull this together, and certainly couldn't have done it without you. And thank you for your support financially as well as your leadership. All right, so Roger Maxey and I went and looked at this space about a month ago, and we're walking down the hallway to Super Gym, and he says, "Kim, I want you to take this in. You'll probably never repeat this. To be able to raise $3 million in less than a year, build a project in a year, this won't ever happen again in your lifetime." So the competitor in me said, "Oh yeah? Like, you just wait, the next project we're going to be done in 10 or 11 months, and we're going to raise more than $3 million. So lo and behold, I had no idea that we'd be embarking on a Moretz Stadium renovation. So, you just got to count your blessings and accept the challenge that's before you, and that's what we're doing. I got to really thank Dr. Witt and the Board of Trustees for supporting us moving on this project. Being able to take action. I mean, we moved within probably 7-10 days in figuring out how to demolition this and our plan for the future. And so I'm excited about this opportunity. And what sort of dawned on me is for what we just achieved this past year, I'm absolutely 100% confident that we're going to be able to raise the money to build this back right, to be able to do it special. For those former players in the room, to be able to put the ramp tunnel in, hey, we got that. That's happening. Coach Cronick, it's going in. What an opportunity for us to be able to do things that we've always wanted to do. I've heard people say, I want to be able to put my name on a seat backs. Hey, we've got an opportunity to do things really special here. And so that's what we're going to embark on, is planning for the future and being able to elevate Morat Stadium and our athletic facilities, not only for football and lacrosse, but for all of our sports, but to be able to take it up to another level. And I'm going to close off talking about a 100-year anniversary and what that means for athletics. And I thought about it, the 22 championships, the national championship, the playoff opportunities. What it really comes down to is the people, the relationships, the connections. 100 years really is about the legends that Jack Huss, that connection that he's created through that forum and through emails. It's about the impact that you've had on each other, the bonds you've forged, three amigos. It's about, it's about the relationships and the impact that everyone in this room who donned the red and black went out and made in their own communities, that they became great businessmen, professionals, attorneys, teachers, coaches. It's really more than just the wins and the losses. I think what we have at Lenoir-Rhyne is extremely special, and it really comes down to the people. And so that's how I'm going to end. And with that, I'm going to invite Bob Fincher up here, as well as Ryan Edwards, to do a special presentation. Ryan Edwards has served this past 2 years as our president of the Bears Club. And prior to that, he served as vice president and treasurer, perhaps. Did you do all 6 years, Ryan, of leadership service? I gotta tell you that I've had the privilege to work for Ryan the last 3 years, and I've seen a lot of what we've been able to accomplish just because of Ryan's leadership. What we were able to accomplish with the Neil McGahey Center is certainly Ryan's leadership and him getting behind that project and supporting the Bears Club and really championing and flying the banner for that project and every other initiative that we've taken on. And so Ryan's done an unbelievable job of moving us forward, and I couldn't thank you enough for your service, for your commitment of time, and for how you've impacted Lenoir-Rhyne athletics, our student athletes, and the future is bright thanks to you.
It was about 3 weeks ago, I was fixing breakfast, fruit smoothies for my daughters. They're Carson and Claire, they're 8 and 10 years old. And my son Will, who's 12, walks into the kitchen and we start talking about our summer plans and what our schedules look like and things that are coming up. And I said, it's only a few more weeks, bud, for your first year of middle school football. And he looks up and says to me, I've been thinking about it, Dad, and I'm not playing football this year. I wasn't quite sure what to do or say about that. I love all of my children, not equally, but... So I have a silver football helmet on a shelf, and I put it on and took him in the backyard. No, I didn't do that. I started thinking about that, and it really kind of got me wondering, what is it that's bothering me so much about this? And I said, Will, that's okay. I'm going to support you whatever you do, anytime, whatever you do, all of you. but let's talk about this in a couple of days. And so I told him to just hold off and we'll have a conversation later. And I was trying to figure out my own thoughts about this. Why was it? He's 12. He's played 1 year of football the year before. This is the first time he ever played. Why does this bother me so much? What is it about this? And Autumn and I start talking about it. And I try to explain to her, you don't understand. There's something different about football. And it's hard to explain, but there's just something different about it. And I got to figure out how to have this conversation with him. And so I started thinking about it. I'm going, is it the struggle? Is it the toughness, the mental toughness, the physical toughness? Is it the discipline? Is it the lessons that you learn, the leadership tools? Is it the people that Kim was talking about? Like, what is it that's so special about this game? So when I came to Lenoir-Rhyne, I came here for a reason. Jeremy, if you could pull that one picture up. When I was a kid, I had, like most kids, I had posters up on my wall. And this is actually a poster from my house. And I had this poster up when I was a kid, and the taller guy in the back there is Smith Sharp, and he played football for Lenoir-Rhyne back in the late 80s, and he's my cousin, and he was somebody I always looked up to and still do. And this poster was right between Bo Jackson and Jim McMahon and probably a Ferrari or Lamborghini or something, I have no idea. But their family lived in Hickory when I was leaving high school, and they're the reason that I ended up coming to Lenoir-Rhyne to play football. And he had an incredible career here. I remember I was the one sitting down on the wall next to the team, smelling their smells and listening to all the bad language. And they had like a pump sprayer that you put Roundup in, and that was their water container. Like, I don't know what that is. It was fascinating for me at that time. But he was a walk-on at Lenoir-Rhyne and ended up being a two-time All-American. He had, I think he recorded 162 tackles his junior year, which I believe is still a record. And it's just been a tremendous influence in my life. So maybe that's part of what the reason is why football is so important to me. It could be the accolades and the people that I had a chance to play with. There was guys like Leonard Davis and Shannon Myers that played just before I got here, and I got to be around guys like Trip Cody and Petey King and some of those guys, and I shared the field with some NFL guys, John Milam and Jeremy Phillips, I think he's here, was also drafted into the NFL and played. So maybe that's part of what makes it important to me. And it could have been my own accolades as a Lenoir-Rhyne football player. And so I started trying to look some of that up. And we searched the archives. And apparently the records have been misplaced. Because I know I had several scout team records. I have a number of days in a row visiting the training room was a record that I had. I'm sure we had some sort of a punt team thing. I don't know what that was, so it's not good for my time here, but that might not be the most convincing argument for Will. And so I started thinking then, well, it's got to be the relationships, like Kim talked about. One of my best friends in the world is here tonight. His name's Thomas Hand, and don't hold it against him, but he is currently a South Atlantic Conference official for us. So he's a terrible person to watch football games with. He's the only one cheering for the Zebras, which is awful. But Tommy and I had been great friends for a long time, even though we didn't start out that way. We both showed up at Lenoir-Rhyne on the same day, grew up in different parts of the country and different backgrounds, and didn't like each other from the very beginning. And that changed quickly, and to be as close and to love and care about each other and each other's families the way we do now, it's pretty remarkable, and football probably played a pretty significant role in that. And we've been through some ups and downs. In fact, at one point, my wife, Autumn, who was my girlfriend at the time, she ends up late one night driving us to Fry Hospital together. We had gotten in a fight with each other over a slice of pizza. And so we ended up in the emergency room. And as we're in separate rooms, getting stitches for the damage that we inflicted on one another, the police officer rolls in and says, "I understand you've been in an altercation with another person." I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "Would you like to press charges?" And so, what did he say? He had the exact same conversation next door. I didn't know that. So maybe it's the relationships, and I can talk to Will about that, but what I decided and what I've thought about is it's the commitment. And so that's what I want you to think about right now is the commitment that it takes to play football. I was talking about Smith earlier. He's the pastor of our church, Discovery Church here in Hickory. And a few weeks ago, he had a message about commitment, and it stuck with me. And he talked about how it's the things in your life that you commit to that bring you energy, that bring excitement into your life. And it's all the other things that you participate in. If you're not committed to them, then you're just a spectator. But when you commit to something, it brings excitement and energy into your life, whether it's your faith or your family or your work or your team or your teammates, whatever it is, if you commit to it, that's the thing that brings you energy. And so I think about that tonight, particularly for a gathering like this, as we celebrate 100 years of football at Lenoir-Rhyne, and what kind of a commitment that took. And I had a conversation with Will a couple of days later, my son, and we started talking about why he didn't think he really wanted to play football, and he kind of hemmed and hawed around a little bit about it, and I said, "Son, you're playing football." And he said, "Okay, let's go." And just the idea of him being committed to it was what he needed to be able to make that move to head towards whatever's in front of him regarding football. And so commitment is really the key piece. And as the president of the Bears Club, I just get so excited about the commitment that this organization has for all of the sports at Lenoir-Rhyne. I think about the commitment President Witt has, not only for this athletic department, but also for the university. And I think about the commitment that Kim has for all of her coaches and her staff, and the commitment that all of you coaches have for all of your players to really enhance that student-athlete experience. What kind of a commitment does that take? The commitment to raise the dollars that we've raised, the commitment to be here. You can pick up a theme. This requires a significant commitment. And so I want to just, first of all, say thank you to those of you who have committed to this venture, but I also want to challenge you, if you haven't, bring some excitement into your life. Be a part of what's going on with the Bears Club. Our commitment is to enhance the student-athlete experience, to raise the bar across all sports. If I could just call attention to a couple of people. Aaron Bessie is our managing director. Aaron, can you walk out this way and stand up? And Ingrid Smith. Ingrid, if you could stand up real quick. Ingrid is our vice president in charge of events. Ben Bundy could not be here. He had a family conflict. And I know he so wishes he were here. He's our vice president in charge of membership, but this is the leadership of this Bears Club right now going forward, and I just appreciate the commitment that you all have. Thank you. Last year, Ryan got up and talked about the goals that we had and the commitment that you've made, Ryan, to see through a very challenging transition for our organization. Last year, we had 3 or 4 different goals, and they were kind of spread out all over the place because we had a lot of different moving parts we needed to shore up. This year, I just want to communicate with you that our goal for the year is simple, and it's measurable. And it's really what makes the most difference in everything that we do, and all of the initiatives that we have fall underneath the idea of being able to grow our donor base and our dollar base by 25% by this time next year, which is a significant leap. We've never grown double digits, much less 25%. So I think we have a lot of work ahead of us, but I do believe that it certainly can be done. If I could have everyone who sits on the Bears Club board or council, if you would please stand up briefly. Everyone who's on the Bears Club board. You guys can stay standing for 1 minute. For anyone in the room who is not a part of what we're doing as a Bears Club to help enhance the student-athlete experience, I would encourage you to grab some information that's on your table, fill something out, see one of us with any questions that you may have. We're happy to help, we're happy to serve you. Thank you all, you can be seated. This is a great time to be a Bear, and it is a great time to be a part of what the Bears Club is doing to support our student-athletes. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you in this way, and I'm really excited about this upcoming year, so look forward to seeing you out there. Roger.
Well, I can certainly say as a past president of the Bears Club, it's nice to pass the ball to people as talented as Ryan Edwards, Bob Fincher, Ingrid Smith, Ben Bundy. It's just awesome. I know you guys are going to carry the ball and take it to school, so thank you, Bob. So I teased you earlier, everyone, about the infamous and the head of the legends, Jack Huss, and his sidekick, Juju Phillips. Where's Juju? In the back. If you ever turn on the radio or want to know anything about LR football, these two are as knowledgeable as anybody around. They are the voice of the Bears. We love them. Jack was a teammate of mine. He's got a lot of his teammate buddies here. He does get that Legends group going and growing. And I'd like to have Jack and Juju come at this time. And also have our first guest of the evening, Mr. Mike Pope, come and join the stage, please. Thank you.
Pretty faces.
Bob, before you, I want you to know one thing. Those records, I saw Tim Moody. Tim Moody here, you still here as you leave? There he is. Your records are pretty close, probably lost the same places that Tim's were. Okay? Because he asked me about that all the time. I just wanted you to know that. You know, it's a unique opportunity we have tonight. We've got a gentleman here that's got 4 Super Bowl rings and numerous other rings, coached with some of the greats in college and professional football. Started his career as a high school coach at Lenoir High School. Now I know nobody's here tonight that played at Lenoir High School for Mike Pope, but if you are, is somebody here? Raise your hand. Where are you? Right there. That's outstanding, okay? He crosses a couple of generations, and the first question I wanted to ask Coach Pope, and I told him this, and he wasn't sure he could tell some of the stories, but he's going to anyway. In 1960, the national championship team, he was on that squad. 1961, they lost one game and didn't go to the playoffs. In 62, with Mike as a starter blocking back, they came back, played for the national championship, and lost. And then in 1963, it wasn't a real good season. But he changed and went from Coach Stasevich to Coach Painter. Okay? I had an honor of playing for Coach Painter, and then I worked as a grad assistant at East Carolina for 1 year for Coach Stas. But this man played for both of them, as did Marcus Fidget and Tom Brown and Bob Montgomery and a few other people out here tonight that made that transition. So first question, Coach, tell us about that transition between those two.
Well, when I came here in 1960, and between the fall of 1960 and the end of the season in 1961, I was the most religious person in the world. I knew there's no way I could go to hell because I'd already been there. Coach Stasevich, for some reason, those of you who might know him, and by the way, thank you for inviting me to come here. I'm the only person who was on that first team 100 years ago. But Coach Stasevich, he liked the star players. He liked the guys that threw the ball and ran the ball, you know. And Jack was in the same position I was. We weren't the front runners in anything. We were kind of the cavalry that came up behind the first group of infiltrators. But Coach Stas, for some reason, took a liking to me. By saying that, I mean he took a liking to abusing me. We go up to Western Carolina. It was late in that first year. I couldn't remember very much from the first part of it because I was in a daze. But we go up there and it is colder than a well digger's watch. And so everybody had all these hoods and parkers and everything on trying to stay warm. And I had about 4 of them on. I was such a girl at the time. Pardon me, it's not a sexist comment. But anyway, and Coach Stas, I was all the way down at the end of the bench. He called my name, Pope, get your blanket down here. So I threw all those parkers like peeled an onion. I got down there and I got right up to him. I had my helmet in my hand. My hands were shaking. He said, go ahead and give me a cup of water, will you? But and then in the spring of that first year, Marcus Midget and I were good friends. We played together. And I kept asking Marcus, I said, is this ever going to end? Because the season was over, we just played and won the national championship, and we started practice as soon as almost when we came back. Remember, Marcus? As soon as we came back, we started practicing pretty soon. About the second week, Benny Kennerly, I was on a blocking assignment. Benny Kennerly went on the side of my leg, and my ankle went to the side of the cantaloupe. And so I went to the training room. I was afraid to go to the training room. Really, I snuck in there, and I got my ankle taped up, and I could hardly walk. So we get out to the field, Coach Stas is walking around me as I'm trying to run. I can't run. He's walking around, he's looking. He says, Pope, after practice you run some laps, you need to get that ankle loose. I mean, the guy was a masochist, I'm telling you, really. But you know, I'm so grateful that he abused me like that. In today's time, you can't do that to players. Yeah, you'd be in there with the hardcore criminals down at Rahway State. You can't, but that's how we were in those days. That's old school football. So when we talk about the good old days, those were not the good old days for Mike Pope, I can assure you that. But I learned so much about what you can do. You know, we all have limits of some kind. Coach Stas proved to us that we could do more than we ever thought. He saw more in us than we saw in ourselves. So, but because of that, we all got to be better players. Now, we had some really gifted players, and Coach Stas didn't say much to them. Odell White, Richard Kemp, Joe Ryan, Jim Emerson, all those guys, Dick Lage, Lee Farmer, all those guys were really great players. I mean, they were gifted. I was in the next wave. But I really will always appreciate it. Because, and I always said, if I ever get into the coaching business, which I did, I will never, ever treat a player the way he treated me. I won't do that. And I never did. I got close a couple of times, but I never did. But his ability to be sarcastic and just run you right into the ground was unbelievable. And those of you who have been here to play for him, you remember that. He was gifted in doing that. Now, Coach Painter, About the worst thing Coach Painter ever said to me, I threw a pass into 3 deep coverage. Now, for you people in here who don't know what that means there's a corner here and a safety in the middle of the field and a corner over there. And you're not supposed to throw the ball in those 3 areas because there's a guy standing there. You're supposed to throw the ball in those openings between this corner, this safety, and that corner. Well, I threw a post right into 3 deep coverage against Appalachian State. And the safety kind of bit up on it a little bit, so I got it over his head. I was so grateful. And Coach Painter came off the sideline, he grabbed me and he says, "Polk, what the hell are you doing? You just said safety in the middle of the field." I said, "Coach, I didn't know safety. He's just a linebacker out of position." So he kind of halfway forgave me, but Coach Painter had a lot of influence on me. Coach Hass didn't like me. But Coach Painter really had we had a very good rapport. We stayed in touch for all these years after I got out of here and went on to the coaching field and got up in the NFL. And we stayed very close touch after that. I'm sorry Miss Painter isn't here tonight. I really am. The only thing I ever didn't forgive her for is when I missed her class, she told him that I missed her class. So I had to get up 6 o'clock in the morning and run up down, so I threw up. I didn't miss her class anymore. But both of them are the reason that I'm here. Plus Danny Williams, some of you know Danny. Danny was my high school coach, and he was a lot like Coach Stasevich because he could be a little sarcastic too. I think that's a thread that you inherit for being here. But Danny had a lot of influence. Danny was almost my surrogate father, and he had a lot of influence on me. And he was such a bright football mind. He was way before his time. And so I'll always be grateful. He passed away in 2017 and broke my heart.
You talked about recently on the NFL Films to find out what gets your blood pumping and to pursue it as hard as you can. When did you realize that you were going to have an opportunity to coach in the NFL for such a long time?
Well, I was fortunate. I was in high school coaching and went to Jacksonville, Florida at Wilson High School. And we had 2 really good teams there, so I had an opportunity. Don Bro was the coach at Florida State at the time, and he was recruiting the area there, so I got to know him real well. So what I did learn here is when you think you've done enough, you haven't done enough. You got to keep going. So I would go around in the second half of the year and collect high school tapes because these college coaches would come into the towns and they'd like to go someplace, and kind of gather. They were friendly on Friday and try to kill each other on Saturday, but on Friday afternoon, because we played a lot of our games Saturdays, and I would collect all these game tapes so they could come there, and I had the cafeteria people to make a bunch of pimento cheese sandwiches. We were low budget outfit, but we'd have some sodas there, so they would come in and they'd sit together and they'd watch. They could watch 10 teams on one Friday afternoon if they wanted to spin through them pretty fast. And if it wasn't for the offensive line coaches, remember this, Fred? They used to staple the tape. When they'd break it, rather than fix it, they'd staple it. They'd go through that old 16 millimeter film, throw the gate right out in the floor. You had to all get on your hands and knees looking for it. This far in language, most of it, I apologize. But anyway, I met Don Bro, and we had 10 guys from those 2 years to go into SEC football. And so Bill Peterson came over and spoke at our banquet over there, and before he left, he said, "I'm going to offer you a job." And that could mean I was going to make $1,000 a year, because Coach Pete told everybody he ever met he wanted to offer him a job. So, but anyway, I did. I went over there as a freshman coach, and on our staff was Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, Dan Henney, Don Bro. There are eight of us all together that were on that staff at Florida State during the early 70s, and we all ended up in the NFL. It's kind of like a trailer. I know this guy, I believe he can coach. Let's hire him. So that's how I got in the NFL.
Yeah, Coach, just one quick Bill Parcells story. I saw him one time in person. I didn't tell you this story, but I was sitting in the back of the room in an event where he was the guest speaker. When it was over, he was leaving. He was going back to Miami on the helicopter, sitting outside waiting on him. He walked right by me, and when he did, I was the very last one person he was going to see, and I said, "Coach Parcells," I said, "I know Mike Pope." He looked at me and he said, "Hell of a coach." I'll never forget that, but tell us one Bill Parcells story, just the Super Bowl, anything, he's a Hall of Fame coach, and someone that I know that mentored you.
Well, Bill was the most adversarial coach in the NFL, maybe of all time. He loved to contest the players, you know. And most coaches today, a lot of them are very much younger. They're afraid to go against the players because they're afraid the player will quit or something, or not play very well. They have all kinds of ways to get back at you. But at one point in time, Lawrence Taylor was probably our best football player, maybe the best football player of all time on defense. Well, Lawrence was late for practice once, and then the next day he was late again. So Bill told him, he says, if you're late again, don't come back. Now this is the best player in football. And it takes some guts or no brains at all to make a statement like that. So anyway, so Lawrence came back, and for 3 weeks, he did not speak to Bill once. Avoided him at all costs. Like I used to avoid Coach Staskis when we were walking up and down to Morgan Hall. I'd walk all the way around the block, keep from going by. But they didn't speak for 3 weeks. And we're getting ready to toward the end of the season now, we're getting ready to go into the playoffs. So Harry Carson, great linebacker, all-pro linebacker, is a Friday afternoon, we're having kind of a walk-through practice. And Bill said, called everybody up and said, okay, let's go in. And Harry stepped up, we're not going in. We're not going in. We're not going in till you guys kiss and make up. Of course, I said, I'm not kissing that ugly booger over there, you know, so I'm not going to do that. So anyway, we stayed out there for 1 hour and 5 minutes. Now this is Friday afternoon, you know, the players have got dates with their wives on Friday night or girlfriends, that's kind of their only night off. We stayed out there and looking at each other, you know, like people at the county fair looking at tumblers. And so we stayed there. So finally, Lawrence gave in. So everybody all rushed in. But that was the fortitude. That was a Stasevich move, right? So, but I mean, there were a lot of crazy things happening. I apologize. I can't tell you a lot of the stories from the NFL because I'd get sued into oblivion. So I'm sorry I can't do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Pope, Hall of Famer, Lenoir-Rhyne.
This time, we'd like to invite up. This time, we'd like to invite up Coach Fred Goldsmith. I think I mentioned earlier that there was a period of time where we were really in a slump, where our culture had left us, and Neil said, "I got an idea," and his idea was Fred Goldsmith. We're in for a treat. Thank you, Fred.
Coach Goldsmith, welcome back. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing here tonight and we see around the university, a lot of it has to do with what you started back about 10 years ago when everything kind of changed. What was it like? Tell the audience as you tried to rebuild the culture. We heard that this past year with Coach Cronick. What was it like back then at Lenoir-Rhyne as you tried to put in your vision to what this university has become?
Well, it was a great tradition here. I know I played against those early 60 teams and got run over by Richard Kent. And I remember the tradition. Unfortunately, there wasn't any tradition for about the last 20 years when we came. I was talking to Mike Houston the other day, and I said, well, we had fun, Lenoir. He said, no, only the last few years. And so we started the first week, went to meet with the players, guy that I'd seen on film. I studied the film, and he was a good running back, fast, good player. He was missing. Then he was missing the next day. Then he got in trouble when I found out about the dorm. I called him down to the office. I said, you're not going to play for me. You're suspended. Neil came by. Neil had told me he was a great running back. I said, Neil, this great running back, I said, hey, this guy's got problems. And Neil says to me, he said, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, he beats up women too. And so that was the start. That was the best player I'd seen on the film. But throughout that first spring, a lot of guys were getting in a lot of trouble too. I mean, there was just a lot of trouble. Academics weren't very high. And we had no defensive line. There wasn't down, you know, Mike tell you, some of these guys that coached, that usually the offensive line coaches would like some of the defensive linemen. There wasn't one that our offensive line coaches wanted us to move to defense. So we were short on talent, we were short on character. And that meant a lot to me. And I came in and I hadn't been in coaching for a while, so I didn't really know a lot of guys that were going to be able to come with me to Lenoir-Rhyne, but I did insist, and a lot of you fellas here paid the salary of Mike Houston when we brought him as an assistant, and also Blake Harrell. I brought the two of them. And I insisted on bringing them. But I wanted more character in the coaches too. I had to sneak around in a golf cart during practice, sneak up on some of them because their language was so terrible with the players. And you know, you just can't, you can't have character with your coach, with your players if the coaches don't have it. So we had a lot of work to do. Well, the first year we went out there, the very first thing, we had a good quarterback who broke his hand the first game, first quarter. And we played with a freshman quarterback, and you know, nothing really went very well at all that first year. The second year, but we got out and recruited hard. We recruited in upstate of South Carolina. We recruited in Georgia. We recruited hard in North Carolina. I didn't know anything about the Division II rules as far as the money. This is a whole different deal, how the money goes. And so, you know, we had a lot of cooperation here. People taught me how to do the scholarships. You know, Rachel Nichols was a tremendous help in the admissions office. You combine the financial aid the guys get from need-based. You combine the academics. Well, I've never been any place where you got football scholarship money or added to it with academics. You had that part of the combination. All those things. And so we had a lot to learn about it, and we started learning. We got some good players in here. We went down to Camden County, Georgia. Blake Harrell went down there, got Major Herring. That was a key thing. He went over to in North Georgia, got the other quarterback who played in the Georgia All-Star game. They played against each other. They came in together. They were the quarterbacks for the next 5 years. Made a difference all the way into Mike. His time as head coach. But we got a lot of help with the character building. We had great help from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, David Daly here in town, then Lance Shealy. Tremendous help there, that helped with the character. I can't tell you about some of the lives that got changed, things that happened there. Oh, Michael, our safety, made All-American. He was the worst kid I ever coached. And when he got here, he was the most spoiled. He just walked out of Division 1A, his team's training camp. Horrible language. Everything that you didn't want from a player. 4 years later, Mike Houston told me he was sitting in board in hearing, and the recruits were in town meeting, and Mike, he told those guys, this young man, Mike, he told them, these recruits, he told them how horrible he was when he came to Lenoir-Rhyne. But he told them then, he said, these coaches work with me. They said, I accepted the Lord. He said, these coaches made me what I am. You need to come to Lenoir-Rhyne. He was All-American. He's all over those films, returning those punts, intercepting those passes when Mike went to the championship. We had to discipline him. We had to put him off for a year, sat him down. We'd have turned the corner on the program a year earlier, except we wouldn't let him play against Carson Newman. Great corner, 6'3" at the time, later safety. We had to put a 5'8" guy in there. They beat us on the last second with a 25-yard touchdown pass on 4th and 5. But the thing began to turn character-wise with coaches, with players. We had tremendous help at the university. I told Pam coming in here today, Now, of all the places that I've ever coached, and there's been a lot of them, we've had 27 houses in 53 years. A good lot. But never did I ever get more help from the university, starting with Rachel. But we couldn't schedule, at the time, we couldn't get our boys to practice in late afternoons sometimes because of the science labs. So I went over and visited the head of the science department. And he said, let me tell you, show you the problem. I saw the worst looking science building I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there was hardly any space for labs. Some of y'all remember that. And he said, but I'm going to take care of these guys. You have them register for those classes, even though they're during practice time. He said, we will make individual schedules for them to come do their lab work. From that time on, I knew we needed a new science building. But people helping like that in the registrar's office, they didn't change grades for us, but they made sure our kids had a chance to get into courses that they needed to graduate and still get to practice. Nobody cared back then. That's where it had gotten to. Nobody cared. But there were so many people that cared in so many avenues of this program, from the people that gave the money to do the things, and of course, it's on the Coach Chronic, I swear. Man, I was begging for a field, and you get the whole stadium. I mean, see what happens when you get to be Coach of the Year and win all these games? But things took off from that point, and then in 2000, we made some changes to what we were doing. We had the best academic school in this conference. Unfortunately, we also had the most expensive school in this conference. And when you're trying to pay guys' ways through college, that hurts a little bit. So we made a decision. We lost in 2007. 2008, we got a little better, but we lost. They wanted to fire me. They wouldn't tell me. I knew they wanted to fire me. They stripped me of a bunch of money that I had for the coaches. We had guys leave. We got a guy leave making $40,000 a year. Two guys left. There was 60-something thousand between the two of them. I got $21,000 to pay the replacements. But I was too stubborn. I didn't want to leave. And y'all had already given us all that money to hire all these other guys, so you didn't have the money to fire them. But I knew we had to make some changes. We had to make changes. I said, okay, best academic school, most expensive. I learned about the rules for Division II. If you get guys with real good grades, the scholarship money they get from the university doesn't count against your football scholarship numbers. Then it clicked. I coached for 5 years at the Air Force Academy. We went to the wishbone and changed everything. We had little linemen nobody else wanted. We had little halfbacks nobody else wanted. So we went out. We already
5% of what you're trying to get out of your program is it being player driven. You know, it's been coach driven to this point, and I see it becoming more and more player driven this off season, where those guys are holding each other accountable. Those guys are doing it where I don't have to do it, and our coaches don't have to do it. So that's kind of the last step. So hopefully we can continue. I think we've been able to be on the speedboat, a little bit of rebuilding culture. Hopefully we can continue to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the architect of the future, Drew Chronic.
At this time, I'd like to have Ingrid Smith come join me. There you are. Again, Ingrid is our new Vice President of Bears Club. What's your event chairman, right? Is that who you are? That's awesome. Ingrid's done a fabulous job for the Bears Club. And if Mike Pope and Coach Goldsmith would come up at this time, we would like to present you with a gift. Thank you, gentlemen. Two great gentlemen. Thank them for their time. Bears team going. And thank you, Jackson Jr., for your great work. Before we close tonight, I think we've got another slide up there. Before we close tonight, where's John Swift? Where's John Swift? Where are you? John Swift reminded me we need to recognize someone tonight. John, I'm going to give you the honors. Speak loud. National champions. We love national champions at Lenoir-Rhyne. And we do thank. And here we go. Thank you.
Okay, one thing I want to do is, first of all, I want to say thank you. This is a unique place. I've never been anywhere like this, where people are so passionate about what you're doing, are giving to help you be successful. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable the year and a half that I've had here. I know how much my wife and my family love me here. My wife, Amelia, I better do this. Stand up, baby. Everybody. She's looking pretty dang good. I outplanted my coverage. But we love being here, but it's because of this, it's the people. The first time I ever talked to Miss Payne, the phone conversation we had, she basically said, look, the people here are unbelievable, the relationships are unbelievable. And when I came on the interview, that was what I saw, okay? And it hasn't changed in a year and a half at all. It's been that way. It's grown even. But we're going to ask for more, okay? So our motto this has been raise the bar, but now it's going to be raise the bar high, okay? There's more we can do. And I can tell you this, we are committed to building the best Division II college football program in the country. That's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be. If I'm looking at it. So what we're going to roll out tonight in the 100th year of football is our Gridiron Club. And what the Gridiron Club will be is an arm of the Bears Club that just deals directly with football. Any money going into the Gridiron Club will go directly to football. And what that will be is it'll allow us, as coaches, to give our players the very best experience possible. I ask a lot of my guys, and I want to do good things for them, which this will be going towards improving travel, improving uniforms, improving team building, all right, improving pregame meals, whatever we can think of to enhance our players, our student athletes' experience. So outside, there's a table set up. You need to join the Gridiron Club before you leave, in some way, shape, or form. I know there's a lot of former football, football alumni here. I think Aaron's a half off for those guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, so there you go. You get it's half for you on whatever level you go at. And alumni, we need you. We need to be able to connect with. There is a lot of alumni, a lot of guys that played football here over that span of time. We need to connect them all with what we're doing. We need to get them all involved, especially that next generation of guys, that 25 to 40 group. We need to get all those guys back to games, get involved. We're going to have a golf tournament into March, a lot of things going on, but we want to get you involved. That's our commitment, is to build the best Division II football program in the country. We need your commitment and your help. So we appreciate what you do so far. We're going to ask for more, and we appreciate what you'll do for us in the future. This is an awesome event, and it's great to see everybody here. So I'm going to give it, who's next? I'm giving it back to Roger. And what time is it?
Just have one real final closing comment before we end the evening. I can tell you that in my time in the Bears Club, Piedmont Educational Foundation, being mentored by some great men, being with that organization, I hate to say it, but almost 40 years now, we had a bigger challenge than anything else that we've talked about tonight. And that challenge was a wall. And that wall happened to be out there in Stasevich Place, and it divided the athletic department from the administration. First conversation that I had with Dr. Witt and with Kim Pate was about that wall, and that wall needed to come down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's down. The wall is down. Administration and athletics are working together hand in hand, and you can see the results and hear about the results in this room tonight. It's awesome. Thank you, Dr. Witt, and thank you, Kim Pate. Thank you. I would invite everyone to stick around this evening for reception, socials, spend some time with our special guests, autographs, pictures, more questions, that sort of thing. They'll be available. Make sure you check out the memorabilia out in the entryway. There's a lot of very cool stuff out there, some really super things. Join the Bears Club and Gridiron Club. There's a place for you to sign up if you're not signed up. There's a 100-year wine tumbler and lapel pin memento for each guest that's here with us tonight. Grab that on your way out. It'll be available for you on your way out. Buy your 100-year gear in the lobby by Custom Design Group. Petey King, Rich Stover, and their company provide us with our LR gear. There's some available with the new 100-year logo out front. See you between the bricks on September 7th. If you haven't noticed, the stands are down, but the bricks are still up. October 5th, homecoming. Wow, there's all kinds of things. Football, alumni reunion, our Hanley Painter Bear Memorial Golf Tournament, our gala event. Lots of things going on. Join the Bears Club. Have a good night. God bless you all. We love you.